Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to networking tutorial. In this video, we are going to talk about one of the most fundamental concepts in routing, which is static routing. This topic is not only important for general networking, but it is also one of the core subjects in the Microtik Certified Routing Engineer or MTSRA certification. So, if you're currently studying for MTSRA, understanding static routing is, is a must because it becomes the foundation for the more advanced routing topics that come later. Let's begin with the most basic question: what is static route? A static route is a route that is created manually by the network administrator to tell a router how to reach a specific network or destination. In static routing, every routing decision is made by us, not by the router. The router will not automatically search for a better path. It will not adjust the route on its own, and it will never change the route unless we edit it manually. In simple terms, a static route is like giving the router a fixed instruction or a written map. We are basically telling it, if you want to go to this network, please forward the traffic to that gateway. To help you visualize this better, let's use a simple analogy. Imagine you have three houses: House A, House B, and House C. They are located on different streets. Now imagine there's a traffic officer standing at an intersection. His job is to direct people to the correct house. But if he doesn't know where House B or House C is located, he won't be able to guide anyone. Static routing acts like you walking up to the officer and saying, if someone wants to go to House B, tell them to turn right. If they want to go House C, tell them to go straight. Now the officer can guide everyone correctly. In networking, the router is that traffic officer, and static routes are the instruction we give, so the router knows exactly where each network is located. Now, because this video focuses on concept only, not configuration, we're going to talk about why static routes are important, especially in the context of MTSRA. Static routing is one of the first things discussed in MTSRA because it builds the basic understanding of how routing works inside Microtik devices. Before learning more advanced topics like recursive routing and ICMP, routing selection, failover techniques, and dynamic routing protocols such as OSPF, you must first understand static routing. Without this foundation, the, ad- the advanced routing topics inside MCRA can be very confusing. Let's talk about when static routing is used in real networks. First, static routes are very useful in small networks. For example, small offices, schools, hamlets, and networks with only a few routers. Static routing is easy to manage, very stable, and doesn't require complex setups. Second, static routing is great for networks that rarely change. If there are no new routers, no new subnets, and no major topology change, then static routes can be set once and left alone for a long time. Third, static routes give full control to the administrator. This is important if you want traffic to take a specific path for security reasons, for bandwidth control, or simply because you want predictable behavior. Fourth, static routes are also commonly used as backup routes. For example, you can create a secondary route that only becomes active if the main route fails. This is often used for failover setups. Now, let's talk about the advantage of static routes. Static routing is very stable. The path if is fixed, so the behavior of the networks is predictable. This makes troubleshooting easier because you always know which route the traffic will take. Static routes are also lightweight. Uh, the router does not need to calculate router routes or exchange routing information with other routers. And since static routes do not automatically update, they are generally more secure. However, static routes also have this disadvantage. The biggest big downside is that they are not flexible. If the network topology change, if you add a new router, change a subnet, or modify the layout, network layout, you must manually update the static route on every effect router. This becomes inefficient on large networks with dozens or hundreds of routers. That's why large-scale networks type typically use dynamic routing protocols. But even then, static routing is still used for special cases such as default routes, internet routes, and special policy routes. Now, let's talk about how static routes work conceptually. A static route contains two main pieces of information. One, the destination network, the network you want to reach, and two, the gateway, the next router that leads toward that destination. When a router receives a packet, it checks the destination address. If there is a static route that matches, the router will forward the packet through and gateway that we specify. The router will not look for any alternative path or recalculate anything. It simply follows the instruction we give. Understanding this makes it external extremely important because it teaches you how routers make forward decisions. This is the same logic used in more advanced routing concepts such as recursive routing, routing distance, developer, and GMP, topics that you will also study in the MTCRS certification. So, to summarize everything, static routing is a manually created route that tells the router exactly where to send traffic for a specific network. It is simple, stable, predictable, and extremely useful in many situations. It is also one of the fundamental subjects in the NDSRS certification, and mastering it will make the next routing topics much easier to understand. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I hope this explanation helps you build a clear understanding of static routing before you move on to the more advanced anti-CRM material. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more anti-CRM tutorial. Okay, maybe that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.